a good segue for the news, because that's not news to me that a beer and a burger go together, because they go together just as good as beer and pizza, Trent.
So am I preaching to the choir?
Oh yeah. I am definitely the choir when it comes to that. From this hell we call Earth, it is the news, and we generally begin with poop news. And well, I'd hate to claim that this is poop news, but it is news that leads to poop. So technically, on a technicality, I'm going to say that this is poop news. What do you think, Trent? I don't
Sure,
know.
go ahead. It depends on what it is.
Okay, so how about this? This lady, Leah Shutkever. She broke the record. You know how I love Guinness records, right? I think it's great.
Oh, yeah. Do you read the Guinness Book of World Records? Do you read that all the time?
Oh, yeah. I always try to keep up with what's going on there and who's breaking what and what are the new records. But how about this one, Trent? Speaking, and it was a great segue, talking about the burgers and the fast food and everything. This woman, she just got, and this is considered, by the way, one of the most coveted and hotly contested titles in the history of the Guinness Book of World Records. And I'm, of course, talking about the record for eating the most chicken nuggets. How about that? The fastest time. So let's see. This
chicken nuggets are good.
They are. They're pretty good. They're pretty good.
Although I don't like them as much as I used to, but I mean, yeah, they are good.
Are you a bigger fan of the Wendy's chicken nugget or the McNugget?
No, I like the Wendy's stuff. See, I got a funny story about that. So whenever I was young, I was a very picky eater, and I stayed this way until I was about 7 or 8 years old. All I would eat 3 things, okay, and none of them were healthy for you at all. One of them was grits. You know, the grits, like well, you're from New York, so I don't know if you. I
know grits because of the movie My Cousin Vinny. Have you ever seen that movie, Trent?
No, I have not.
In My Cousin Vinny, Joe Pesci plays a guy from New York, a lawyer who comes down south, I believe, to Alabama to represent his cousin in a murder trial. So it's all about the culture shock of someone from New York. It was Joe Pesci and Marissa Tomei, who plays his spouse, go from New York down to Alabama for a murder trial. He's a new lawyer, and hilarity ensues. But a big part of the story was grits, believe it or not. And that was the first time I was ever I don't think I've ever actually eaten grits, but I know of grits because of My Cousin Vinny.
Oh man, I love some grits every now and then. So what but that was the only thing I ate whenever I was a kid was grits, chicken nuggets from Wendy's. Like I would always ask my parents to get me like 2 5-piece. Like every time I would go in there, like get me like a 10-piece chicken nugget. With like a sweet tea, as big of a sweet tea as you could, and literally I would eat that for lunch and dinner a lot of times. Like just because my mom couldn't get me to anything else, she's like, okay, I know it's not good for him, I know it's putting on weight, but just like get him some chicken nuggets.
That's what he eats.
Like, he'd be quiet.
Yeah, he'll be quiet. That's what he eats. Let him eat it. Trent, this is the record for most chicken nuggets consumed in 60 seconds. How many do you think you can throw down in 60 seconds?
In 60 seconds, I'd say if they're small, probably about 6 or 7.
All right. Yeah, I think I could probably get around there in 60 seconds. Well, this lovely young lady, she downed in 60 seconds for the Guinness World Record 19 chicken nuggets.
Wow, in 60 seconds.
In 60 seconds, 19. Now, she is a prolific...
Did she even chew them?
You know what? It might be that... I don't know if you've ever seen the competitive eaters. I know like the Nathan hot dogs are a big deal during the 4th
Joey
of July.
Chestnut.
These people, they just basically swallow it with a lot of water. It's actually pretty repulsive to look at. So I'm assuming she did something like this, like that. She's actually a prolific Guinness record holder as far as competitive eating is concerned. The fastest time to eat 3 mince pies. She holds that record for 52 seconds. She ate 3 mince pies. 3 pickled eggs in 7 seconds. The fastest to eat a muffin with no hands. Think about that. 21 seconds it took her in 2019. It still holds that record. Here's a good one. The most marshmallows eaten in 1 minute with no hands. Guess what she did?
No hands.
20 marshmallows. I feel like I can do that, though. So,
I'm sure you probably could.
Somehow I feel like I can do that one. But anyway, congratulations. She is the world record holder. 19 chicken nuggets in 60 seconds. What an athlete.
Oh, yeah, man. I mean, yeah, absolutely. What an athlete. Just what a...
And I'm sure, Trent, it's poop news because, to me, that will lead to interesting bathroom time, I would think.
Yes. Let's just say, you'd be sitting in there. Yeah, I can hear it right now, and it's kind of it's very disgusting. It's disturbing.
It's just being human, Trent. What do you want?
Oh, I know, absolutely. But yeah, I heard that. But I got one for you.
All right.
A British man. Of course, you have a kitchen. Everybody has a kitchen. They have.
I don't have a kitchen, Trent. I made sure when I went house shopping, I said I don't need a kitchen. And
did the guy look at you like, "What is wrong with you?"
Yeah, no, I have a kitchen. I'm just kidding.
Oh, good. Well, of course, you guys.
Just in case you were taking me seriously. So.
Hey, unless you were to like grill your food or something outside, use a grill.
Yeah, I make a fire in the backyard, Trent, and just...
Hey, why not? But anyway, a British man was away in 4 different countries. He had a little bit of a vacation. But when he came back, he realized that he didn't have a kitchen anymore. They had burglars came into his house and stole everything. Stole his oven, stole his refrigerator. They even stole his freezer with his ice cream in it, his, all whatever. Nothing was found. They even kind of messed up flooring and stuff in the kitchen whenever they made this move. Well, come to find out, they ended up getting arrested and they were charged for burglary for stealing a man's kitchen, literally and figuratively.
He stole his kitchen. That would be like his living room was stolen.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like the whole joke back in the day: "Is your refrigerator running? Well, you better go catch it."
Yeah, you better catch it.
Yeah, people trying to be comedians.
Yeah, they're not successful half the time.
No.
But I think half the time I'm 100% of the time funny. So what?
That's laughable.
I'm sure that makes sense. So
yeah.
So how about this, Trent? Study finds the world's most popular smell.
Okay.
The most popular. What do you think the world's most popular smell is?
Ooh, the smell of flowers. A lot of people love the smell of flowers, especially like women. They love the smell of flowers.
That's really nice, Trent.
What?
That you thought of flowers. My wife loves flowers, and you're right. Women love flowers. So definitely, if you're out there courting a fine young woman, be sure to buy flowers. It's a good move. It's a good move,
yeah,
Trent.
that's pretty successful.
So there's not, but yeah, it is not flowers.
Okay.
But this research firm, they've reached their conclusion by having 280 people from different cultural groups living in very different lives, ranging from hunter-gatherers in Southeast Asia to Americans living in New York City. They had them take a whiff of 10 unique scents. To make a long story short, which is very difficult to do on this show, it turns out...
look at the length of last week's show.
Yeah. It turns out that the most popular smell in the world is vanillin, which is the main component of vanilla extract. So
would have never guessed.
Basically, vanilla. We love the smell of vanilla. And on the other end of the spectrum, Trent, what is the least popular smell in human history?
Smell of skunks.
Skunks.
Yeah.
Skunk is a pretty bad smell. As a matter of fact, it is a defense mechanism for that organism. However, that is not the most hated smell in the history of humankind. It actually...
Are you the most hated
it's
smell?
Rich Carroll. Oh. Boo.
Boo.
No, it's actually, it's a very, this is the least popular scent, Trent. And I know what I'm talking about here. You know what I'm talking about here. It is isovaleric acid. So
you're speaking Greek to me.
That is the odor typically associated with smells such as sweat. So the smell a person gives off as they're sweating. Now,
yeah, hey, don't you hate it? Whenever you're like with somebody and somebody's got bad BO. Like, hey, my question to you is, like, whenever you were in New York, I'm sure you took the subway, like pretty much everywhere, or everywhere you possibly could. When you were on the subway, like, a lot of times you're in close corridors with people. So didn't you hate it when you sat next to someone or when you stood next to someone, whatever you chose to do, and they ended up having bad BO? Like, there's no way of getting away from that until you actually get off the subway. And it's
interesting. I would say that the subway, there would be so many people at times, especially if you got on the subway during rush hour. That car would be so packed. Literally everybody, you're packed into the car like sardines, so you can't move. There are people all around you, you're scrunched together. So there are so many people. Sometimes you're not necessarily thinking about the smell. You're just thinking about how uncomfortable you are. I would say the bigger issue with smell in New York would sometimes be getting into an elevator with someone. Now, that's when it would be really rough and noticeable, at least in my experience. I'm sure there were times on the subway where there were some bad smells and stuff, but I remember it more so in the elevator. Those were some rough rides with people who didn't necessarily have the best hygiene.
Yeah. I mean, that's that. Wow. I don't blame you 100%. I mean, I would hate going in an elevator with somebody. I always hate it, too, whenever, but because the thing is, like, you don't want to be mean to them, but then again, like, you legit, sometimes you can't stand the smell of somebody. So, I mean, you legit, sometimes you have to hold your nose. I hate to say it, but I mean, there are times where you have to do that. And it's, it's kind of awkward because, they're around you and, you're trying to do it very subtly, but they could see you. It's just, I don't know. I legit, Rich, there's no joke. I have a story for you. Imagine that. But there was I had a history teacher that did not like one of the students in my class that for whatever reason just didn't get along with him. He was a smart kid, but they just, like, their personalities clashed. You know what I mean? Yeah. They just didn't, they really didn't have anything in common. So, and he was partially deaf, as well. He was kind of hard of hearing and a little visually impaired. So I was good friends with the guy. So she walked up to me and whispered in my ear. She said, "Trent, I need to talk to you outside." I'm like, okay. So I get up, go outside, and she goes, "Can you please tell your friend Ryan that he's got extremely horrid body odor? And can you tell him to, like, possibly improve that?" I'm like, yeah, this is not awkward at all. So, she
that's wrong. Why would she put you in such an awkward spot? That's terrible.
Yeah. She will remain nameless, but I will tell you that, she did that. And I legit had to, it was one of the most awkward conversations I had to have, but I had to have it, in private with him. She wanted me to. So
so you actually went through with it?
Because she wouldn't stop asking me. She was, like, putting pressure. She was like,
why you, Trent? Why were you the go-to guy to try and get this guy to take a bath?
Because apparently other people thought that this guy was weird. I mean, like,
you were the only person who could talk to him.
Yeah, one of the only. I was one of the only people that he talked to, besides, like, instructors.
Oh,
like
I see.
Yeah, student wise, like, besides the teachers, I was one of the only students that he kind of wanted to interact with. So, and by the way, I haven't talked to him in a few years, so I don't. Hopefully, he doesn't remember that.
Maybe he's listening to this show right now.
He could be, and he may be like mad as could be for me telling that story.
Look,
but you know
just
what?
because you stink doesn't mean you're not a cool dude and a good friend. Okay, I've had friends that stink. Okay, like those dudes smell bad, but they were good friends. And then I've known people who smell really good and they sucked and they weren't good friends.
Oh, well, I'm proud to know that if I do stink around you, I am a good friend of yours. So
I won't hold it against you. It's not about if you smell good or bad. It's about, are you a good friend? Do you have my back? That's what it's about, Trent.
And the answer to those questions is affirmative.
Yeah,
I do have
and
your
you
back.
don't stink. I've been around you, so it's two positives there.
Well, that's good. Well, you're not around me right now. Who knows? I could stink right now. We're in strategic locations, as they say.
Luckily, this isn't smell-o-vision or smell-o-radio.
Yeah, smell-o-vision. He's terrible. But hey, it wouldn't be a Super Radio Brothers news highlights story if we didn't have a story that involved a robbery. Because the past few weeks we have, how robbers are, kind of stupid and they have no idea what they're doing. Well, a robbery,
thieves.
Thieves. A robber did the best he could to try to mend the situation. He got involved with this in this store. The article didn't say what establishment that he had this altercation in, but he had an altercation in an establishment with the manager.
Can we say it's Outback Steakhouse?
Fictitiously, sure. Yeah. I mean, if you want to.
I just need it for my imagination, Trent.
Okay, so yeah, well, actually, because this is like a store. This is not necessarily.
Yeah, never mind. Outback is lame. It doesn't match the story. Sorry, Trent.
So I'd say, hey, how about let's say Sears? Like Sears, the old franchise. I don't think it's around anymore. I don't think.
No,
Sears
they don't even have. Yeah, I think Sears went bankrupt or something.
I think so.
Let's just say the bodega. I'm from New York, right? So I'm used to the corner store being the bodega.
Oh, okay, yeah, I heard that. But they went to Sears and everything. So the guy ended up having a scuffle with the owner. Well, during the scuffle, he literally lost his gun. So the robber fled the store, but returned a few hours later. He went home, showered, and literally dressed up in a suit. He said dressed up in some of his best clothes. So he dressed up in like a suit, tie, like pants, a nice shirt, nice dress shirt, and ended up walking into this store and legitimately apologizing to the owner and said, sir, I sincerely apologize for having this scuffle. I lost my gun. Will you please give me my gun back? And the manager quickly said, no deal. And the guy was arrested. No. So that was that. I think it's funny. You got to commend the guy for legitimately going home, showering, finding the best clothes possible out of his wardrobe, and dressing up and walking and coming back to the store. Yeah.
See, there's the guy's a thief. He's a criminal, but he doesn't smell bad. He took the time to go take a bath and everything.
No, because he wanted to be professional. He wanted to take a shower because he knew that he and this guy were going to be interacting in close corridors. So you might as well. See,
my point is just that there are some really good people out there that just stink. They don't smell well, but they don't smell good. But hey, they're still good people.
I think I'm going to need to take a shower after this show.
Here's someone who's not a good person, Trent. A man in Germany gets 90 COVID-19 shots to sell forged passes. So he would get the rubber stamp, you've been vaccinated. Well, he did that 90 times so he could sell forged passes so people could claim they were vaccinated. How about that? That's
man. I've heard some wild things about the vaccinations and come on people, like they hadn't gotten their vaccine yet. You want to make sure people have enough to get it, and of course it seems like as COVID is I wouldn't necessarily say in his rear view mirror. I mean it's relatively close. Seems like we've been in a good stretch here for the last month or so. So I will take that, but the COVID vaccine, that's a really important deal, man. You got to make sure you savor as many of those as possible.
I got a couple of things left here, Trent. Do you have anything else?
Yeah, actually, I do. A guy tries to steal a toilet.
So you had a kitchen stolen, and now someone's trying to steal a toilet.
Absolutely. I didn't plan it this way. It just
really affects your faith in humanity, you know, when you hear the types of things people are stealing.
But a guy tries to steal a toilet. But Rich, you want to know what he used to steal it? He didn't use a trailer. He didn't use any of that. He used a scooter, like one of those motor scooters that you see on the road. You know what I'm saying? You know those things?
Oh yeah.
Well, and this guy, this isn't in England. So a guy in Argentina. A couple of guys stopped by a fast food joint and asked if they could use the bathroom. You know, they were probably out. They needed to use the restroom. They needed to find a place. Sometimes you all have to do that, is whenever, especially when we go on long trips. You know, if you need to use the restroom, you see a fast food place, you're like, oh, okay, I'll just go in and use their facilities and go on about my merry way. Then they went into the facilities and yanked the toilet. Then proceeded to try to load it onto their scooter. They were trying to balance 2 people and 1 toilet on the back of their scooter when police arrived. And they ended up getting arrested for armed robbery.
Like, how do you begin that process to commit this crime and not understand, I am going to get arrested? This is not going to go well.
Criminals are not smart, Rich. Haven't you realized that?
I guess
they have no common sense.
I guess that's why you have to steal a toilet to begin with, right?
Why would you want to steal? Why would you want to steal a toilet? Why would you want a toilet that bad?
I would just go in public. That would be my. Hey, I don't have a toilet. You know, I was just gonna use the bathroom in public. You know.
Yeah, I mean,
at least it'll bring attention to my plight.
Yeah, definitely. I mean. So, I would hate to see that video go viral. But,
but it would probably be good for Super Radio Brothers.
Yeah, it would, but not for the life of Rich Carroll.
Yeah, it'll be bad for me. Can you imagine, Trent? You know, a Ferrari, a supercar. You know, it'd be nice.
Oh, yeah, I love Ferraris.
It'd be nice to have a Ferrari. Can you imagine buying a Ferrari for $326,000, close to $327,000? You buy this supercar, and you crash it the same day. And not only do you wreck it the same day, you wreck it just 2 miles away from the dealership. The dude literally just bought it, and he wrecks it 2 miles out of driving out of the dealership. That's
oh man.
You know, you probably shouldn't have bought a Ferrari. You know,
now I need a little more details if you haven't. Like, what was he doing? Like, was he driving at a high rate of speed whenever he wrecked it, or what did he like? Did he hit somebody? Did he like not? Was he trying to see how much horsepower the car had by like legit trying to go fast around a curve? I mean, how did he wreck?
It doesn't give that kind of detail. It just says that photos shared by police show the front bumper crumbled with scratches all across the front of the flashy red sports car. Driver was uninjured, but he was left counting the costs after his pride and joy was destroyed in the collision shortly after he purchased the car from the dealership. So,
well,
good.
I wonder what his blood alcohol level was.
Yeah, I guess you kind of have to be drunk to spend $327,000 on a car.
Shoot, yeah,
it stands to reason.
you would have a lapse in judgment. That's for sure. That's a huge lapse in judgment if it is.
I could have bought so many other things. I could have fed, the homeless. I could have, cured every disease. Well, maybe not, but yeah.
Dude, although my granddad, he loves old classic cars, man. He just bought a Porsche a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, you were telling me about that.
Yeah, he bought a Porsche from this guy up in Orlando, and he found out. We actually took a little stroll into tonight, before the show. Was doing some show prep and had to go out and grab some dinner, before I got the program started. So we ended up driving that Porsche to the restaurant, and a couple weeks ago, whenever he drove the Porsche, he actually had some issues with the ignition switch, and the car wouldn't start at first. But he got that all situated, and he's still waiting on the tag for his Porsche.
Look at that.
He's got it.
That's how Trent prepares for the show. He goes on joy rides in a classic Porsche. I'm jealous.
Absolutely, man. That gets my adrenaline pumping. I said, okay, hey, who knows? I might own a self-driving Porsche one day. For all I know,
that'd be something,
Yeah.
Anything else on your end for the news, Trent?
No, that pretty much does it for me. Those were the 3 top stories that I found. I had to have that for the finale. I had to have the toilet story because I had a feeling you would appreciate that.
I got one last story here, finally, and of course it involves UFOs because they do exist and they're among us. An interesting story here, Trent, which will be a segue, spoiler, into our rundown segment. So a UFO expert, Trent, check this out. Maybe he's onto something here. A UFO expert thinks aliens may avoid Earth after Will Smith's Oscar slap.
Is that right?
Yeah. The aliens, the all-powerful, advanced, super genius aliens, they're going to avoid Earth because of the Will Smith Oscar slap.
Okay.
Let's see if there's an explanation here. According to one UFO expert, Will Smith's now infamous altercation with Chris Rock may have provided extraterrestrials with all the evidence they need to avoid the third rock from the sun. Nick Pope, a former official with Britain's Ministry of Defense. So this is, the British Ministry of Defense, Trent. This dude knows what he's talking about, okay?
Yeah.
He says any alien life forms happening to tune into the Oscars, because obviously they are. I mean, 90% of the planet Earth aren't tuning into the Oscars, but the aliens are. So if extraterrestrials tuned in to the Oscars, they could have divisive thoughts amongst themselves about humans enacting such a way. And this is what Nick Pope says, and I quote, "If extraterrestrials are watching Earth, either monitoring us as part of a scientific study of emerging civilizations, or maybe as reconnaissance ahead of an alien invasion, they'll get a lot of their information about us from our TV broadcast." Because let's be honest, as I interject here, that's how most people get their information about the human race, is through their television broadcasts.
That's right.
Pope continues. He says in a chat with the Mirror, what will they make of the fiasco at this year's Oscar ceremony? Aliens will already know Will Smith from Independence Day. You ever see Independence Day, Trent? That's when Will Smith himself thwarted an alien invasion, and he punched an alien and uttered the immortal line, "Welcome to Earth." So the aliens, they're well aware of Will Smith because they saw Independence Day. This guy makes total sense, doesn't he, Trent?
Oh yeah, I mean he definitely does. And but yeah, the UFOs. I remember we had a chat about that on last week's show. They are real, according to you.
According to me, yeah. According to me.